In mathematics, we use the word integer for any whole number. That includes positive numbers, negative numbers, and zero. For example, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Integers have no decimals or fractions. They're the basic building blocks for all number operations. Directed numbers are numbers that have direction as well as size. The plus or minus sign tells us which way we're going. Like, for example, a plus means an increase, a gain, or something above zero, while a minus means a decrease, a loss, or something below zero. You'll see directed numbers in contexts like bank balances, temperatures, or elevations, anywhere direction matters. The number line helps us visualize how integers are arranged. 0 sits right in the center. Every step to the right represents a positive increase, while every step to the left represents a negative decrease. For example, -3 is to the left of 0, and 4 is to the right, showing that negative numbers are always smaller than positive ones. Starting at -5 and moving 3 to the right gives -2. The absolute value of a number tells us how far it is from 0 on the number line, without considering direction. In other words, it's always positive because distance can never be negative. For example, the absolute value of -7 is 7. Both numbers are 7 units away from 0, just in opposite directions. When two numbers have the same sign, we simply add their sizes and keep that sign. For example, -3 plus -5 means we're moving further left on the number line, so the total is -8. You can think of it as combining two losses or two decreases to make a larger decrease. If the numbers have different signs, imagine a tug of war between them. The positive and the negative pull in opposite directions, so you find the difference between their sizes. The larger force wins, and the result keeps its sign. For example, 7 and -4 pull against each other. The difference is 3, and because 7 is positive, the answer is +3. To subtract an integer, think of it as adding its opposite. Instead of trying to remember a new rule for subtraction, just flip the sign of the number being subtracted and then add. For example, subtracting -6 becomes adding +6. A simple switch that makes problems much easier to handle. Subtracting a negative becomes addition. -3 minus -6 equals +3. Multiplying integers follows a simple sign rule. If both numbers have the same sign, the result is positive. If they have different signs, the result is negative. For example, 3 times -2 gives -6, but -3 times -2 gives +6, because two negatives make a positive. -2 times 6 is -12. -3 times -5 is +15. Division follows exactly the same sign rule as multiplication. If both numbers share the same sign, the result is positive. If the signs differ, the result is negative. For example, 12 divided by -4 gives -3, while -12 divided by -4 gives +3. Let's look at how the sign rules work in real examples. -20 divided by 5 gives -4. Because the signs are different, the result is negative. But -12 divided by -4 gives +3. Same signs, so the result is positive. Always divide the magnitudes first, then apply the sign rule at the end. BIDMAS helps you remember the correct order to carry out calculations. Start with brackets, then indices, followed by division and multiplication, and finally, addition and subtraction. This order ensures that your results are always accurate. Never add or subtract before dealing with multiplication or division. This example combines brackets, powers, multiplication, division, and subtraction. A true higher tier BIDM. AS question. Start with the brackets. -4 plus 6 gives 2. Then evaluate the power. -2 squared equals 4. Next, multiply 2 by 4 to get 8. Divide 8 by -4 to get -2. Finally, subtracting a negative adds 2, giving the final result of 10. To solve this, start by completing the operation inside the absolute value. -8 plus 3 equals -5. Then take the absolute value of that result. The distance from 0 is 5, so the final answer is +5. Here, the temperature starts at +5 degrees and drops to -3 degrees. To find the change, subtract the final temperature from the starting one. -3 minus 5 equals -8. That means the temperature has fallen by 8 degrees Celsius, an 8-degree decrease overall. Imagine your bank balance starts at -120 pounds. That means you owe money. After depositing 50 pounds, your balance improves but remains negative. You're still at -70 pounds, which means you're 70 pounds overdrawn. Not quite back in the positive yet. Dropping from 300 meters above sea level to 100 below means a change of -400 meters. A common mistake is forgetting the sign. -6 plus +4 is -2, not 10. Remember, negative times a negative gives a positive. This rule never fails. Students often add before multiplying. Always do multiplication first to get -12, then add. To stay accurate with integer problems, try 3 simple habits. First, sketch a quick number line. It helps you visualize direction and sign changes. Second, memorize the sign rules for multiplication and division so they come naturally. And third, whenever you see subtraction, rewrite it as adding the opposite. This keeps your signs consistent and avoids mistakes. To master integers and directed numbers, focus on 3 things: sign rules, absolute value, and BIDMAS. Once these become automatic, working with negatives will feel natural instead of confusing. Practice regularly until every rule feels instinctive. Now practice integer operations on RICO Study to build speed and confidence.